What's up guys, welcome back to Vlogmas. Today I decided to do something a little bit different. I wanted to sit down and have like a little chat, more of a focused theme for this Vlogmas, so that, I can just get some thoughts out about my feelings about being in college during COVID-19. So obviously there are a couple of videos out there on this channel about me talking about what it's like being an RA, moving in, and like just experiencing everything for the first time. And now that it's the end of the semester, I've had a lot of time to reflect and a lot of time to kind of just absorb everything that has happened this semester and kind of have more thought out ideas about what happened. Again, if you are interested in more of like the process, it's almost like an unboxing versus a review. And so the beginning, those videos were kind of like the unboxing, and right now this is the review. So if you want to check out those unboxing videos, then feel free to check them out on this channel. They did get the attention of the Boston Globe, so shout out to the Boston Globe and Laura for interviewing me. I was really happy that my insight was really valued, even though I really didn't have much to say, just being a student, A couple of things to just first put out there. I am an RA, so my situation is a little bit different, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna like shy away from like my own personal experience, just because I feel like my experience is also unique. And I'm not going to say anything completely terrible about the school either, because I do really love Emerson and I'm very happy to be here. So just disclaimers, I guess. So what's it like being in a COVID-19 semester? Where do I start? I guess the first thing that I should start with is move-ins. It was definitely really weird because I was moving in. It felt like a ghost town. Moving in wasn't that terrible. I feel like that was a pretty easy process, and I had a lot of time to kind of get myself situated and adjusted just because of the quarantine. Quarantining wasn't that rough. I lived alone. I had my own bathroom. Being an RA, I live alone. I have my own suite, so it's pretty nice. Dining wise, so there were not too many options. There were a lot of Mexican food places like Chipotle. There was El Jefe's, Maria's, and then in the dining hall there was a lot of Mexican food there too. So pretty much everywhere around campus was Mexican food. There was garbanzo, which was Mediterranean food, and then there was also just the regular dining hall food that I'd say was not that great. We also got really small portions, so that would just be kind of a negative side. I feel like all the grades have very unique perspectives, and this is kind of how I see it. Freshmen kind of have it really bad because they're coming in, but they also have no expectations, and they just had their senior year kind of ripped away from them. But then they also are coming into college and they can't experience their first year as freshmen. Juniors and seniors probably have it the worst professionally, just because they're graduating or they are working on graduating, getting their BFAs, BAs done, and things are getting canceled, so they can't really get them done to their full potential. And then when it comes to sophomores like me, I feel like that's where we have it the worst socially, just because we've experienced our first year in a really fun time in a completely new building surrounded all by freshmen, and then we're having that ripped away from us, and then we're coming back with these expectations that we understand are being lowered, but they're being lowered to such low expectations, it's really hard to kind of be happy and joyful around that time. I hope that's making some sense. I know what I'm saying isn't really making too much sense, but basically freshmen just have it really bad their first year. I understand that, but everything else is going to be amazing for them, because once COVID-19 is over, then I feel like the freshmen will have such low expectations that everything that's going to be happening is going to be great for them for the rest of their time. For me personally, it sucks being a sophomore, just because I know mostly majority sophomores, barely know any freshmen, and don't know too many juniors and seniors, so that just makes me only kind of reach out to only sophomores in my bubble, and it's really hard to meet other people socially. One of the biggest parts of Emerson that I've experienced from last year was definitely the dining hall. The dining hall was definitely the social hub where everyone would go and eat and be together. Some people wouldn't even eat, they would just sit there for like the entire day with just friends talking or doing work, and that's where everything kind of happened. And now that the dining hall is limited and basically you can't even eat in the dining hall, you kind of just have to go through lines, and the dining hall food isn't too great now, especially because we get small portions. No one really goes there anymore, and it's really depressing because there's no way to socialize. For residence halls, it's also really difficult because you can't go to another resident hall that you're not living in. So I live in Piano Row. I can't go to the Colonial or Little Building or any other buildings it's just really terrible, especially because I really want to go back to Little Building and just reminisce and see my old room, see who's living in there. If you live in 1136 in Little Building, that was my room, and I miss it so much. Academic-wise, I still can't distinguish whether or not this year was easier or this year was harder, just because it was just so different. Being in a hybrid learning environment with Zoom classes and in-person classes was definitely really hard to manage, just because it was nice to be on Zoom so I could just wake up and go to class, but then it was also really hard to pay attention. But I feel like in-person classes was definitely also a really difficult situation to pay attention to, and the worst part was definitely engagement. It was hard to engage with the class just because we're all wearing masks, everyone is distant, and you can't really socialize with people or kind of ask questions or feel free to ask questions. There were a lot of moments where I was in breakout rooms or group discussions in person, and it was just really hard to concentrate. I definitely have led a lot of breakout room conversations, and they just end up being really awkward. Or like in-person conversations with groups, like I can barely hear them because we all have to be socially distant, and I definitely respect that, but there's just something that isn't the same as a non-COVID time. So one thing that I do want to talk about too is testing and COVID in general. So at Emerson, we have to get tested once a week. And moving on for next semester, we're going to actually have to be tested every 4 days, which is crazy, but totally understandable. I totally understand how we have to be safe, and I totally respect that. I wouldn't say it's too much of a hassle because I get the privilege of living on campus and being in dorms with the small price of walking 15 minutes to get tested once a week. I'd honestly say it was pretty nice to have that walk, although sometimes it really conflicted with my schedule because I'm definitely a really busy person. Testing was pretty simple. By half the semester though, I stopped scheduling them because you're supposed to schedule them through the app, and I kind of just showed up and got tested. I'm not sure if I should say that. With COVID-19 scares though, it was definitely really hard to reach out to people and get in contact with people and kind of meet up and hang out, just because people might have roommates or suite mates who might be feeling sick one day, so they would all need to quarantine just in case, or something in that same situation where it's just really difficult to kind of be with people if you're not living with them. So what I'm about to say is really personal to me and my own experience. Living alone was definitely really hard for me. It definitely crushed me mentally. Last year, I lived alone too, in a single dorm, but this was without a COVID situation, and people were free to come over to my room whenever they wanted. And now it's just really different because a lot of people can't really come to my room, and we're only limited to have 3 extra guests in a room, and they can't be from a different building. So it was really hard to socialize with people, and I just felt really lonely being in a single suite. That's definitely not to say that I hated being an RA. I definitely learned a lot about being an RA, and this is not really about COVID in general, but this is more of just my growth experience. I learned a lot about managing and making priorities to what I want to do in my future. And I think it's really helped me become a stronger leader and a person in general. This year was definitely tough. I'm not gonna lie. It was probably my worst semester I've ever had in my life. It really mentally drained me, especially with elections going on and so many shoots. And I personally got really busy because out of spite, when I get really lonely, I kind of drown myself in work so I don't have to worry about being alone. I can just worry about work, or I'm forced to worry about work. I'm working on that and I'm getting so much better at it. And I guess the one thing that I really want to put out there is I know I'm a student leader technically, and I'm not a perfect person. So there are so many things that I still want to improve on and grow in. But this year has definitely challenged me to grow and kind of have some peace of mind, at least at the very end. And even though this semester was pretty crazy, I'm really excited for next semester and what's to come with that. Next semester, I'm still working on a lot, but I have definitely limited the amount of work that I'm doing, and the classes I'm taking are a lot more fun than this semester because they're related to my major. One of my closest friends, who you've probably seen in Vlogmas, Henna, will also be coming out of her gap semester and joining us. She's going to be living on my floor as my resident, so I'm really excited to see her and hang out with her again. And just a general goal for next semester, I want to work on doing less and being okay with doing less, and kind of just working on myself. Meditating, working out, and all that jazz are the things that I want to enjoy doing and have a routine doing. I'm getting a new camera and I'm really excited to be able to focus on videography skills and photography skills that I can work on this semester and possibly improve and get into. In terms of professionally, for just me being a creator, I definitely want to get into the producing realm, but I also am being pulled in so many different directions: directing, producing, assistant directing, DPing, or cinematography are just things that are so interesting and fascinating to me. And even just the general music video realm, as you don't know, I'm going to be dropping some music videos soon. They're definitely really amateur music videos, and I definitely don't think very highly of them because they're not my music and I wasn't hired to make it. I just made it with my friends for fun. But be excited for those. I definitely had a great time working on it and spent a lot of time just crafting creativity in general, just doing things for fun rather than doing it for the sake of it being work and for a resume, you know? And that's what I've learned throughout my year and a half at Emerson. At the end of the day, there's just a lot to be really hopeful and grateful for and excited for. Definitely last semester pretty much sucked. I'm not gonna lie about how much it sucked, but I also am not going to let my mind kind of stray away from the positive things to look forward to and the positive things that I've done in the past that I feel like I at one point lost sight of. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this gave you some insight on my COVID semester and maybe helping you figure out if you want to take a gap semester for a COVID semester again or not. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy more sit-down videos and more focus-themed videos, or kind of just a take you through my days kind of video. Hope you enjoy this video of Vlogmas. I'll see you later.